Shikhar, maybe you'd like to start with why we're doing this.
So, this is a bit of a harebrained idea that I had on a Wednesday morning, and so Wednesday afternoon I spoke to Gopal. I was actually thinking that we are got two organizations in this office, well three, but one purely dedicated on healthcare and especially on preventive health, and the second is an organization in education, but it's got a big focus on health and health of people, and so. I thought that it's been a while, we've all been very busy with work, so why not actually induce an idea of health talks and make it fun, right? So usually health is this very boring topic and it becomes like a lot of gyan, and so we said, how about we make it a lot more about stories and fun, light-hearted stuff. It's so light-hearted that Gopal has brought chocolates to a health talk. Okay, I was not expecting that. So he's not taking it seriously for sure. But I think the idea was this is a bit of an experiment. It's a platform that we're going to have health talks, and really, actually, all of you are doing me a favor because you are my guinea pigs. So if this goes well, we want to have more health talks with more people from different walks of life, and the acronym we came up with is AIA. It's really actually a very straightforward talk that through this platform of health talks. We don't want to make it complicated, don't want to make it sophisticated. If we can simply raise awareness, create inspiration, and hopefully create action for all of you, then it's a success. And so for some of you, it's about just building awareness. And for some of you who are already aware, you just need that spark to create that inspiration. And some of you are already aware and you're inspired and just waiting basically for the right idea and just to do something. And so usually I'm in that last category. So, really that was it, right? So then I thought, why not actually do this with Colonel Gopal? Because he's, I think every fifth conversation of ours is usually about health, right? Personal health and organization health and interesting things. And it's been this way for the 14 years that I've known him. And so I thought, why not have like a nice, fun, breezy conversation with him on that note?
I'm warming up to this already. I'm going away from that first question which I had planned because Shikhar talked about chocolates. Because I've known Shikhar for now 15 years, and one of the first things I noticed now is the huge shift in Shikhar's own approach to health from 28 to 43, 42, Shikhar, if I can tell them your age.
41.
41. 27, 26 or 27. So in the early days, Shikhar used to, he will not admit it, but have lots of Coke used to be stacked in the office fridge. So I, like a 50-year-old obsessed with fitness, I said, Shikhar, we shouldn't be doing Coke and all.
Coke and Kurkure.
He's the furthest away from him right now. So there is no Coke or Kurkure in his life. And it's interesting to see the journey of, many of you are aware of the many things that he's been doing. So we'll talk through that. But I think maybe when we started together at that time, there was no HCL Healthcare thinking, at least in my knowledge. But the fact that you head this wonderful healthcare team and the wonderful preventive healthcare that you all do, but it must have been inspired by something early in your life and some family experience, something about wellness which stayed with you from childhood.
Yeah, so I suppose it was at the back of my mind, and as I entered my 30s, I started thinking a lot more about it. And I've always been, when it comes to sports, I've always been driven with a bit of ego, okay, which is a good thing because you always, that if you have just the right amount of ego, you're inspired to sort of become better than what you are. And it really irritates you when you're not as good as you were. And so basically, how do you want to do that? So I had a few instances, and then then I started reflecting on the back of the mind stories and memories that I had, and one of them was my dad at the age of 42 had an open bypass surgery, right? When he was, and he had it in the US. It's a story that some of you may know because I've spoken about it before. But my dad is the youngest of 6 brothers, and he had breathing difficulties, and we were growing up in Kuwait, and so he went for a health checkup, just like the one that we do. And basically, the doctor told him, "Sare traffic jam hai, ye blockage hai, wo blockage hai, ye blockage hai," and all that. Now, being the youngest, it was interesting that all the other wives of the other brothers started panicking. This is sare jao head check liye. So they all went for a head check. Two other brothers also had blockages. So the three of them had open bypass surgeries together. Okay, this is a true story, right? At Cleveland Clinic in the US. And this is before stenting and all of those things was easily available. So you had to have an open bypass surgery. So I'm the same age at which he had the open bypass surgery now, right? So he was about 42. So I was joking with my dad. I said at least one record of yours I've managed to break. I've almost made it to 42 without an open bypass surgery. And so that was in the back of my mind, right? That like I have to fight these genes that he's given me also. So I never want to go down sort of that journey. And, that was one. And then there were a few other sort of stories. Like, one of the things that I had this realization that Indians need to age a lot better. Okay, so you can have, in the 20s, the body is resilient. You can put it through anything. Nobody really can tell. But as a country, I think we're probably the worst aging country in the world. We just simply do not age well, right? And it's very normal to accept the person is 70 years old, so should not walk, should walk assisted. It's bizarre, right? This thinking is not there sort of anywhere else in the world. I took a flight to San Francisco and I came off the flight, and these porters were giving each other high fives. So then I asked them, why are you giving each other high fives? They said, we just broke the record. So he said, we had a bet between ourselves. So I said, what is the bet? He said that the bet was how many wheelchairs will come off the flight. And there's an Emirates flight from Dubai, which is full of Indians. They had 75 Indian passengers on wheelchairs, right? 75, right? And so half of them don't need wheelchairs. They just cannot walk long airport distances, right? And I was looking at all of them. I said, none of them are like 90 years old, right? A lot of them are about 70. And the fact that, this is how we're aging. And
so they bet that will be more than 50 or more than 60 and they're counting.
So they ran out of wheelchairs and they ran out of porters. So these poor parents were sitting there waiting for 3 hours to leave the airport also. So, these are like interesting realizations that happen to you.
Yeah. So from Coke and Kurkure to fitness, that transition, like what happened, and what's something you've done which is like extreme in fitness?
It's not extreme enough, but I took up cycling on Delhi roads. So Delhi roads is extreme enough. And everyone told me don't do it, you're going to get run over and everything. I've been cycling for 10 years, touch wood, still alive. I had a few scary instances, but I've biked a lot. I've done 70, 80 kilometer rides around. And so for me, I could not imagine myself doing that. I never really built myself for endurance. I've gone to Poland in the snow-capped mountains in the winter and taken ice baths, in the snow over there. I've done all of those kind of things. So it's been a very interesting journey, especially over the last few years. But I'm yet to do some more extreme stuff. I'm not trying to beat any extreme level. It's more just for my growth and my learnings, which makes me feel really good. Yeah. But Gopal, moving on to you, you've done a lot of extreme stuff, right? Especially in the military. I know every time I bring up ice baths, you're like, big deal. I've done it in Siachen and everything like that. So tell me about your military life and, what's your fitness journey? We speak about this all the time, a few big stories, small stories.
So I think I'm from the infantry. Those of you may or may not know, but army is comprising of many different what we call regiments and arms and services. But the infantry is foot soldiers right on the border. So my actual extreme story could be like 3, not 1. But I suppose the most extreme of all is... we have that video. Okay. The most extreme of all is being on Siachen Glacier. Within Siachen Glacier being on the highest military post in the world, which is 21,500. Now come the chocolates. Can you guess how cold it is in October when I went up first in 1988? Okay, so it is minus 50. How many socks do you think we wear? 7.
7 socks.
7 socks, 2 shoes, not 1 shoe, 2 shoes, Actually, one is a softer shoe, like this shoe actually. The first shoe is like a cloth type of a shoe, but it's got reflector, and then you wear that.
Stupid question. Why can't you wear one big sock?
Probably chilblains will take your toes away very soon. So I suppose it's the air pockets in between each layer of socks. It's more than anything else.
Insulation.
It's insulation. So actually 7 socks, right? So morning getting up and getting ready in a tent at 20,000 feet is half an hour's work. Unless the enemy shelled you, then you get ready in like 30 seconds. I don't know how it happens because the snow, the tents can't take a shell.
Yeah.
But then climbing from 21,000 to like 22,000, which is the highest post in the world, is, God knows, 40 years ago. It's unbelievably unforgettable because you realize that taking 10 steps.
That's meters. No, that's feet.
That's feet.
Feet. 21,000 feet.
21,000 up
of
to
course.
Bana top. So you are actually, your lungs burst without oxygen because you're acclimatized, so you're not supposed to, you don't need oxygen. But yet at 21,000 feet, to climb up on a fixed rope, let me just say that throughout my life, I've never asked myself that question, which I asked myself when I was at night trying to climb up to Bana top, कि गोपाल जिंदगी में और कुछ नहीं कर सकता था, यही करना था क्या? You know, your lungs are like going crazy with bursting, but troops are on top, kerosene has to get on top, and it is exhilarating, that extreme life that you can have, right? So that's one. Then I've done 40 kilometers with a pack of 21 kgs with a weapon, which is in commando course, which we all do. So it's a 40-kilometer run. You have to qualify within 5.5 hours or so. So that's
40 kilometers with 21 kg?
21 kgs.
In 5.5 hours?
In about 5.5 hours, yeah.
I'm trying to visualize this.
Anyone can try.
Huh?
Yeah,
21 kgs, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I think that's been some of the stories, but this is a bit of Siachen. This is actually Bana top. It looks quite nice and cozy, but and that's the view you get from the top. It's an incredibly exhilarating feeling also. Anything extreme that you do physically, and when you complete it or just go through it, I think that feeling that you get, all the hormones which come out because of that feeling, I think that's a very special feeling. So, yeah.
But you've got, so I met you when you just left the army a few years after that, right?
Yep.
And what struck me was that you were big into sports. You were thinking about it, playing it, talking about it all the time. And you were 50, just about, when I met you. And at 50, you can still play a lot of these games and things like that. And then we went to Shiv Nadar school in Chennai. And Gopal, I arrive at the school in Chennai, and at 9 a.m., Gopal tells me we're having a very quick football match with the kids.
Good day.
And I said, okay, fine. So, took off my shoes, went barefoot, and then there's Gopal also playing, right? And I will give your age away only because it is relevant to what you did. And so he's 64, and we're playing football with 12, 13-year-olds. And this 12-year-old, he dribbles past, and Gopal does almost a full split, okay, to stop the kid from running away. And I thought to myself, ye to gaya. Okay, right? And I wouldn't do that myself, only because this is exactly how you get injured, and the next 3 months all you're doing is basically recovering from that injury, and you've pulled a hamstring or a groin or whatever it is. So how have you managed to sustain this, right? Even after the military, and at 64, I've never seen a 64-year-old play football, which you played remarkably well. So I just want to know, how do you do that?
So I don't know if you remember, but the first time we went to Vidyagyan, it was the first time we ever played football together, and there were proper high school kids playing, and Vidyagyan kids were like,
yeah, I remember that.
Man, I told him, Shikhar, let's play football. He said, are you crazy? Where are the shoes? I said, we don't need shoes, let's play like this. So I think that was a really tough game, but we really played. I was much younger, 15 years younger, but I think what shaped me is when I was a major, I was a captain, and there were 2 majors, dono Sardar, ek Gill or ek Grewal. And on PT, which is normal army, 6:30 in the morning, these guys were in full pack with a big pittu, we call it a pittu, and running. So I said, sir, आज तो वो BPT वाला दिन नहीं है, battle physical efficiency test. Why you both running with this? He said, Kaka, शाम नो ना दारू भी नहीं है. So I said, what's the logic? He said, if we don't do this, we don't drink. So one logic to do physical stuff is to enjoy your life, do stuff that you want to do, which is probably eat good food, have a good drink. But if you don't do this with a regular physical routine, then I think it's difficult to sustain that. Then your muscles are going to go at.
So the mindset is to earn it.
The mindset is to earn it. So you got to earn what you want to do. But yes, I think there's regular 5 days a week, like 45 minutes of sport for sure. If it's not extreme badminton, then there will be cycling. Otherwise, basketball with the children. The difference is that as I'm getting older, the age group I'm playing with has changed. So from high school, I'm now playing with middle school children. But keep going. Earn your drink. That's the logic.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So, Shikhar, what about you? We've saw some of the stuff that you've done lately, and some of those yoga things. How did yoga happen to you? Like, how did that happen?
I think I owe it to getting injured a lot. So I got injured. Actually, about 5 years ago, I had a terrible back injury. I don't know if you remember. I had a real hard time standing, and I couldn't figure out what was going on with my back. And then I did the classic thing that you do in India: MRI karao, ye karao, wo karao. So I did all of that, and then they basically told me you need surgery, right? So the disc is like totally eroded, it's jutting out, it's a perforated disc and all of that. Then I got a second opinion, I got a third opinion. Even in the US, they all said you need surgery. And so then I said, surgery to Karana. The picture's up. Okay. So I said, surgery I don't want to do no matter what, because once you have surgery on your back, it never really behaves the same. It starts, because when you touch, it's like you touch anything in the body, then it will have an impact onto the next disc and so on and so forth. So I tried doing yoga. I had some bad experiences that made it worse. But then finally I found this great teacher and basically tried to really understand what helped. And what I understood about yoga was it's this amazing three things that actually happen in it. So it's funny that yoga is created by Indians for Indians, but yet as Indians we don't really practice it or understand it, right? So people think it's stretching. It's a lot of strength building as well, and it's a lot of breathing. So if you do stretch and strength and breathe together, it's an incredible trifecta of a combination that really expands your body, expands your lung capacity, opens it up, builds strength and staminas. Like in yoga, like this is like Vrikshasana, right? The tree pose. You try standing in this for 10 minutes.
I can't do that.
Yeah. So if you try doing that for 10 minutes, you'll be sweating buckets. Like you'll be dripping with sweat. I mean, it's just absolutely exhausting, right? So this is, I'm no yoga expert by any means, but because it takes many, many years, I've only been doing it for about 4 years.
But you do like more than an hour a day?
Easily. So if I don't do yoga every day, I get very cranky because I just feel like, I feel better if I've got some mobility in my body. So I wake up in the morning, I do it. If not, I'll do it before going to sleep. By the way, I have amazing sleep if you do yoga before it. So light yoga, you don't do like very advanced stuff. So you do stretching. I mean, does anyone do yoga here? Raise of hands if you guys do it. So it's a fair bit of people, right? About maybe 15%, 20% of the people that do that. So that's been incredible for me because I've realized almost every variation of fitness, whether it's Pilates or something or the other, it all comes from yoga, right? So even simple stretches and things, it all really comes from yoga. And so I've been trying to do a lot of strength building now because my teacher tells me, he says, "You're stretching bahut ho gaya. Now you need to just be doing a lot of strength building around it." And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's very, very difficult stuff. So you don't see it in the conventional muscles because yoga doesn't always build you those cut muscles like a gym would, but it builds you incredible core strength. And that core strength is what helps you keep injuries and everything away, no? Because your balance is right, so you're not really tilting over wrong, you're not falling over where you shouldn't be. And I've seen people that do yoga like in the 80s, just an absolute incredible shape. Yeah. Stronger than me, to be very honest.
Yeah, and Mr. Iyengar took it to America, right? Ayana took it over.
Yeah, so I think what he did was he popularized it to the world, right? BKS Iyengar. So if you just read one of his books and just Google it, his institute is in Pune. But he sort of was this person that really popularized it to the Western world. And funnily enough, they learned it and then they're bringing it back to us and teaching us. Yeah. So if you go to Rishikesh, you'll see more foreigners learning yoga and practicing it. Because fortunately for them, they can actually make a livelihood on it. But in India, yoga teachers are not able to make a successful livelihood. Yeah. So that's something that actually as a government could always do. Like I'm a big supporter. If the government ever said that, listen, we want to create, let's say, a workforce of 100,000 yoga teachers, imagine actually how good that could be for society. Right?
But I have realized that in some states and districts, so when my unit was in Shahjahanpur, which is about 300 kilometers from here, every district had yoga sanstans sort of supported by you could ask for a yoga teacher, they'd come to the army and do yoga. Yeah. So I think it's going. Would you like to show us a headstand?
Headstand? Maybe later.
Okay.
I would need a wall. There's no wall here.
No, we can just hold you like this. One person just has to hold, right? That stuff I've done.
Hold? I can do that. I can do that.
Let's go, Amir. Not Amir, we need a Tagra guy.
Tagra guy.
Here?
I should read this. I can't feel I'm doing. Okay, you stand like this. You want to hold my legs. You stand like this. Just catch it.
Yes. Oh, Upar. Yeah. Wow. Oh, wow. Done. Okay, how many people can do that? No one? How many of you can do that? One.
They can do
okay, so I think so. You got the awareness now. I hope you're inspired to get into action, right? So maybe next time some of us could demonstrate that. Amal, can you try and do that? Did you do that? No. Okay.
So it's amazing that understanding how the human body works. So when I do handstands, my back feels better. Like so how many of you would make that connection?
Yeah.
When I do a handstand, my back actually feels a lot better. But for a lot of people, they won't really make that connection because what you do is by doing that, you're actually elongating your back. Yeah. So you're not compressing the back as much. Yeah. So when I have a lot of back pain from sitting sometimes for too long, I just basically do a handstand for a minute or two.
So how's the back now compared to what it was 5 years ago?
I mean, incredibly good shape compared to what it was, right? So built a lot of muscle strength. Yeah, so it saved me from surgery, right? Yeah, so it saved me from surgery and of course, a lot of sitting. So, how do you do a lot of that? Because, by the time you hit 40, okay, all these problems start compounding, right? Yeah. Especially if the body keeps count of what you put it through, right? Yeah. So, especially as you hit 40, the body's like, listen, I remember what you did to me, okay? And so I'm going to do it back to you. Yeah. So the body keeps count. So it's like you've got to respect it and basically just give it a little bit of therapy. Okay, so we'll go for some chocolates, by the way, in this health conversation. We'll do some statistics and let's see how many of us know this, okay? What's our population? Okay, no chocolates for that. 1.4 billion, okay? No, iske liye nahi hai na. So you're supposed to know. Okay, next. Oh, that you're not supposed to flash there, but anyway, wo aa gaya. So that's what it is. Like that's the world. 537 people with diabetes. 77 million are here in India. Right? Okay, next. And again, wo aa gaya idhar. Obesity and overweight. This looks incredibly bad. But that's 38% of the world's obese and overweight people are in India. Olympics mein gold medal kahan se aayenge? Right? So I think if you don't have a sports culture and 20 million Australians can do what they're doing, right? It's just incredible.
So that's again scary statistics. That's the number of deaths due to heart attack in India. I've gone past the danger age, by the way. Some of you guys are in that danger age, right? So be careful. So I'm moving you from awareness, whether inspiration or not, get into action, right? Don't do sedentary life. So okay, we'll just come back to this conversation. But Amit, can we do that video? Yeah. So this is a 1.5 minute video. Tells you why.
Maybe blocking the video.
No, it's okay.
We live in a world beating with urgency, breathing with difficulty, breaking under necessity. We are a society consumed by technology, compact in proximity, choked by inactivity. We are global, we are responsible, we are trending, we are too inactive. Everyone, everywhere, every day. We have a plan. It's time to activate our governments, to activate our environments, to activate our society, to activate ourselves. It's time to activate movement, to activate improvement, to reverse our direction, to activate new trends. We need to alert you. We need to activate. Everyone, everywhere, every day.
Okay, so that's more and more awareness and call to action. So let's do a mentee. Everyone's got their phone. Take your phones out, please. We'll just know about ourselves. It's anonymous, so be free to be honest and straightforward. Here we go. So go to mentee.com. One two eight zero nine three 68. Can you see it at the back? Can you see at the back? Mentee.com. Got the code? Two questions.
Oh, okay. Nice one.
You got to switch the screen now. Switch the screen.
Yeah.
Correct.
Achha, they've answered already.
Yep. So, I mean, we have no clue how we're going to go on this one. So, are you on daily medication? Yep.
So one third, right?
1/3.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a fitness regime of 45 minutes, 5 days a week?
I'm grateful you're all being honest at least. Some of them.
Okay, guys. So, I think you know what this is telling us. It's very simple. You want to enjoy your evening, get your 45 minutes exercise, right? And anyway, it's important. So, it tells you that.
Interesting. So 5 to 6 is the biggest norm now. I think you're supposed to ask me.
Maybe brands. What's less than 5 hours? 5 to 6 hours.
So 5 to 6 is sort of the norm.
5 to 6.
Okay, good to know some of you at least getting good sleep.
Which is like 7 to 8.
All right. So Gopal, there is a rumor that whenever somebody joins Shiv Nadar school, they have to go through your measuring tape test. You measure their BMI personally, and you check their scores and everything like that. What is this BMI business at Shiv Nadar school about? Why is it important, and why does everyone know what their BMI is?
So a lot of doctors here, but you also run HCL Healthcare as a company, and I'm sure it's one of the most audacious things we tried to do when we started. But annual appraisal ke pehle page pe, the page which says height, weight, BMI. Beginning of the annual appraisal, right? And there's a small disclaimer which says this has no effect on your appraisal. But we sustained that for 5-6 years. But basically, we brought health in the forefront of conversation and activity among teachers and the organization, right? And we took it to all sorts of funny lengths, including saying in the first 4-5 years, my children are abroad. They told me, you tried in Canada, you'll be behind bars for the sort of stuff that you've put on an employee. But we also said, those people who lose the most weight, you will get an award called the Green Apple Award. So remember that.
We've instituted this in HCL Healthcare as well now.
Oh. Yeah. But I think it's not about weight, it's about health and just getting conscious. I remember, Shikhar, you telling me that if you pull this off, it's going to be quite something in an organization. But
and it's not even a healthcare organization, it's an education organization.
Yeah,
with health being a big focus.
But remember, the last one we did was Shiv Nadar School Olympics.
Yeah.
So we have all the schools competing with each other, not students, but staff, divided into teams. And we do one whole day of sport. And we do, firstly, a run around the ground, which is 600 meters running around the ground. So I think it's given great joy to be able to bring this into the forefront and people taking this up.
On this sports day that they organize, so I haven't done long jump in 25 years since I left school, but I signed up for the long jump and I came second overall. Okay, not in my age group, overall. And the person who beat me, he's a chow dance expert. Okay, so obviously he's got big leaps and everything. But after doing that long jump, I mean, I was in terrible pain. It took me about 6 weeks to recover from my hamstring injury and everything. The only thing that made me feel better is that Rajesh Sai Babu was worse. Okay? He said, I came first, but it took me 6 months. So both of us, it was just amazing. But we had almost the entire school participating there, right, on sports day.
So we have a percentage of marks which go for participation. So what's your percentage? So you get marks for that. But I think, I know it sounds like a corny line, but for all of us who are obsessed with brands and phones and bags and a lot of other things. Yeah, that was going to
be I wanted to ask you. So Gopal, for as long as I've known him, has shunned brands. He's never been a big brands guy, right? So doesn't wear any branded clothes, no branded watch or anything like that. For you, you've said this before, what is your biggest brand?
Yeah, I think the biggest brand you can actually carry is your body. And, if you have a great body and what you looked after, so that's what you should aim at. There's nothing better than you can flaunt, actually. It's just being fit. Because you can't change your face, is genetic or whatever, but you can definitely have a control on your body and it's a gift you can give yourself.
Yeah. You can change your face nowadays.
Yeah,
body is more effort.
That's sort of true.
Which is true. So it's the only thing in the world you can't buy. You have to earn, right? Yeah. And so it's like if a billionaire, the one way to look at it is that all of us are born as billionaires. Because if health is a currency, you're actually born super healthy and then it just starts decreasing. It depends on how you treat your body and over time. Because you're the healthiest as a kid. And then it just goes minus, right? So why should health not be a currency? So if you were to put health
Yeah.
dollars, right,
Yeah.
then actually everyone is born incredibly wealthy, and then it just declines over time. So how do you maintain that?
So maybe we'll just do this. Most healthcare people will know this, but you know, as science is advancing and we know our bodies better and our brains better, obviously there are these four hormones which make us do the one thing which we all aspire to in life. What do we aspire to in life? I think is actually happiness. And what makes us happy and what triggers in our head is these chocolates. Anyone? So dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, serotonin, and preventive healthcare, and all of us. I think I try to just look at. I love these things every time I read, but try to make myself understand what does it mean. So dopamine obviously means doing purposeful, meaningful work. That triggers things in the mood. So you do tasks which you accomplish, 100 meters, 40 kilometers, oblique work, and just the joy of completing something is where the dopamine is. That's where you get oxytocin, called the love hormone. You want more of it. Hug more, get more hugs. Just be nice to people, right? Okay. Endorphins? Anyone? Okay. Simple. And what Shikhar said, that you do stuff, I think you just feel better. So, personal story. Every day, 6 o'clock in the morning, staying in Noida, Sector 36. Wife, school teacher, principal, leaves at 7. I used to leave at 5:36 every day for badminton, without fail. And one day, exasperated by personal story, don't tell her, you can tell anyone else, right? She told me, for you in the morning, when I know I'm leaving at 7, your badminton seems to be more important than me. So, मेरे दिमाग में immediately answer आ गया, वो तो है, but वो wife को नहीं बोल सकते, उनको नहीं बोला मैंने, ऐसा नहीं, ठीक. But there's no question. It's important for me. It's important for my body. So I have to get it. That's my dopamine. That's my endorphin. So you just got to do it to realize how much it is important. And serotonin, again, it comes from mindfulness, doing meditation, doing yoga. So I think it's very important that we work on this. And Shikhar, so that's how it goes. And the body is your brand.
Body's your brand. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that very much. So we have another 10 minutes, some questions. Yeah.
So we've covered so many things. This one we have done recently, so we'd just like to know a little bit, and I've seen a few photographs, and many of you may not be aware, which is your ice bath experience, and how did that happen, and what did it do for you? And just tell us about the whole story.
So, because of HCL Healthcare, I read a lot about preventive health. Okay, so it's one thing is for business and everything, but you've got to just expand the universe in your mind about because the definition of preventive health is very loose, right? It's not really defined. There are no boundaries to it, and preventive health can be anything for anyone. Like you said, mindfulness is preventive health for someone. For someone, spending time with family is preventive health. For someone, exercise is preventive health. So I started reading up a lot about this, and many years ago, somebody had told me a very interesting stat because we were discussing about cancers, and they said, the cancer incidence is increasing everywhere in the world, and in the US has been increasing for a long time. And one of their views, the Ayurvedic views, is that in Ayurveda they say that anything you apply on your body should be cold, and anything you ingest and eat should be hot. But actually, urban life is totally the opposite, right? We started eating like cold food and cold meats and things like that, and having sort of hot showers. So what that does is it sort of reduces the immunity. And over time, immunity is not something that reduces overnight. It takes many, many years to reduce, but it takes many, many years to bring it back also. So all these, Rishi Munis and everything back in the day, they were just, for them it was called a shower, right? For us it's called ice bath, okay? For them it's just normal bathing, and they would bathe in these sort of ice cold rivers. And so I was petrified of the idea. But I realized that the one thing I always do is when it comes to health, I set a goal which I know I cannot achieve, and then I work backwards to see is it
Very
possible for me to achieve it. So I've done that, when I wanted to cycle 50 kilometers. I've done it when I wanted to start doing 10, 15 kilometer runs, which I never used to do. I never used to run that. So if I ever ran more than 3 kilometers, I say that this is crazy, like I was dying, right? But if you just set that goal and then work backwards, it's better to be outside of your comfort zone. So there's this person who's become very famous. His name is Wim Hof, and he's known as the Iceman, right? So he's known for these ice baths and breathing. So it's basically a lot of breathing, meditation, and ice baths with it. So he's made this famous, and then around last year, about literally 12 months ago, I just went online and I saw that he had this course in Poland in the mountains at about a height of about 7,000-8,000 feet, and I thought that if I just go and enroll and then let me see what happens. So I went and I signed up and I enrolled. It was in January in Poland in snow-capped mountains, and I signed up and then I said, "Shit!" I said, "What have I done?"
What's water temperature?
So the water temperature is about basically 2 degrees, 3 degrees, right? And you can
And
see
how
it's
long? How long?
filled with ice. So building up to it, I basically started having cold showers in Delhi winter. And then I would realize that it was like a brutal experience. Your first 60 seconds is just absolutely brutal, right? But none of these showers prepared me for an ice bath. And so when I got there, as it is like, it's cold and everyone's wearing jackets and everything, और हम नंगे घूम रहे हैं, ठीक है, हर जगह wearing these, wearing just basically our swimming trunks. So the first day was really interesting. I was just petrified. I think that of all the people there, I was probably in the bottom 10 percentile of people who deserve to be there. I was really, really petrified to be there. But I've always taken a lot of inspiration from people around me, right? So I saw a lot of the people there, and then basically the first day I went in and I was there for 45 seconds or so, and I felt my legs just collapse, completely collapse, and no good feeling, anything happened. I came out of it. And then the next group went in.
How long were you in?
I was in for 45 seconds. Then I saw the next, we were supposed to do 3 minutes. And the next group went in, they completed it. I said, I can't be the only guy not doing it. So then I went back in and then I finished the 3 minutes. But after about 60 seconds, it actually, you could start feeling it. The blood was just pumping through the body, right? It was like, the blood was coming through the body. So you think that you come out feeling blue, right? You guys will think in an ice bath, you'll be totally blue. I was red like a strawberry, right? Because there's so much blood that just flows through your body that actually you just look like a total strawberry. I don't know if you can see a little bit of redness around the chest area and everything. You're just absolutely bright red. And there's so much heat that gets generated that suddenly all of this, the cold effects just starts dissipating. So by the last day, I did about 15 minutes in it, but it's not meant to be a competition, right? I mean, the effect of it starts wearing off after 7-8 minutes. Then you're just basically a warm body in cold water, right? But it was an incredible experience, like a lot of breathing, lot of deep breathing to the point where you can feel the tingling sensation in your lungs. So it becomes a conscious feeling and not a sort of subconscious activity. So combining the breathing with a lot of ice baths, it's like now I just can't take a hot shower. And I'd like to think my immunity is improved. But it's Delhi is a tough city. Otherwise, you can always fall sick.
Maybe you could poll in. How many people only take cold showers? Oh, in winter, obviously. I do it right now.
2 hands.
Right,
Right,
no,
2
but
hands.
4-5 hands,
Oh,
not
4
bad.
hands.
Try again,
Okay,
try again. How many? Only cold. In winter.
Yeah.
Oh, not bad, not bad.
Good feeling, no?
Yeah.
Huh? Great feeling.
Wow.
So they say
great.
that if you're feeling lazy, you take a cold shower. It'll just wake you up instantaneously.
Wow.
And if you have a hot shower, it's going to fatigue you, right? It'll tire you out. So it's good to have a hot shower sometimes before sleeping. But the first thing in the morning has got to be a cold shower, no? It always is an amazing feeling.
So this has been great. I think we'll keep some time for conversation with the audience. But
So I'll tell you,
Shikhar,
so I'll tell you very quickly. It's really interesting because it was such an out-of-body experience for me being there. The first day we did a cold plunge. Then they said, now we're going to summit a mountain. Okay, so it's like a snow-capped mountain where you can see in the bottom left picture. We all trekked for 6 hours like this, wearing nothing but shorts, and it was just an incredible experience. I didn't feel cold at all,
after the cold shower.
No, in the bottom
Afterwards.
left, while trekking.
Oh, while trekking.
While trekking. So we're trekking, it was about -1, -2. No shirt, just wearing swimming trunks. But you're burning energy by walking uphill. That combined with some breathing exercises and just being together, it's just incredible. Because you think that it's impossible to do, right? Like how can
Are there gloves? Do you wear gloves?
I some people wore because I wore it because your basically hands, feet, and head retain heat. So you want to retain some heat in the body.
You can walk without anything on the torso and the legs as long as your feet, your head, and your fingers are covered.
So then they challenged us. They said, now we're going to walk with some ice. So you make a snowball, right? And you have to walk with it in your hands till it melts. So then we walked for like an hour with it till it melted. Okay, so just get used to, getting different parts of your body used to the cold. But it was incredible. 6 hours walked uphill. Didn't flinch, nothing like that. And I think that what it's done to my body is it's made me less afraid of the cold. It's certainly made me realize aspects of how my body works in a more positive way, right? So I know when to supercharge it. I know when to sort of slow it down a bit also. And I think your body's a great messenger. Your body's always trying to tell you something, right? So if you feel some sensations, it's the early signs of maybe something. If you see some positive sensations, it's also the early sign of something you can build up on. So if you really get attuned to listening to your body, and your body's always trying to give you some signals, something or the other, right? Whether it's a headache, and a headache is an outcome of something else, which is really usually an origin, right? And so all those things are really interesting. So just spending 6 days doing nothing but just basically focusing on health was just an incredible experience. Yeah.
Shikhar,
how many of you want to try an ice bath now?
Not bad.
You want to do one collective one? We can do it one in office. Huh? Yeah.
Who's done?
Okay, done. In winter. Huh? In winter, it's okay. Yeah, because actually it doesn't make a difference. Andar bhi 2 degree hai, bahar bhi 2 degree hai.
Yeah, probably it's easier, right? Okay,
All
Shikhar,
right.
so here's you both a son, but also a parent. So what's the best gift parents can give their children?
Good health. Because I see a lot of people looking after their aging parents, and I don't think it's because of old age. I think it's because of maybe neglected age. So I think the best gift that I would want to give my parents, my kids, is certainly the gift of good health, so they don't have to spend half their time taking me to doctor appointments and looking after this. And I think excessive domestic help has a big reason because of that, because we just don't move, right? In India, we've got so much domestic help, people always running around getting you things, so mobility and steps and everything like that just gets shrunk because you just stop doing that. Yeah. I don't know about you, Gopal, but at the age of 60 something, what are your health goals now? And I've always been very envious of one thing. You sleep very, very well, a little too well. Please tell me how you do that.
So I think one is, of course, get lots of exercise. I mean, you get lots of exercise, you're so tired by evening. Get up early, drink lots of water, get lots of exercise. I think and sleep is one of the most underrated health indicators. You have to focus on getting good sleep. If you don't get good sleep, you have to solve that. Because I think the luxury I had in my life is that I had to live a physical life in the army. So it gives you a routine. The challenge you have is because you are not pushed to do that. We are pushed to get up and do PT at 6:30. So there is no choice. 13,000 में लद्दाख में हो तब भी उठ के ग्राउंड में खड़े हो रहे हैं. It's part of our life. So it's part of our job. So that becomes a routine. So obviously getting up early becomes a routine. Because that sleeping early becomes a routine. Because that exercise in the middle becomes a routine. So actually easier for people like us. But for people in the big city, you have to push yourself and start realizing that it's important, right? I think that's the difference. For us, it's easier. That's how we live. But I think every 10 years we should have new health goals. It's like life. You can't have what's your purpose of life and what's your goal. And I think every 10 years you should change.
That's too far out.
This is too far out. So every 10 years you should have one. Mine is a bit outrageous right now. My current goal is to die on the badminton court or the squash court. It sounds stupid. It sounds outrageous. But, just think of it. You're dying doing something you love. You're dying quickly. and you're not troubling anyone. Go boom.
You'll trouble the people who have to then pick you up.
Hey, everyone will mourn for 2-3 days, they'll go back to life.
That's how much you love sports.
I play, when I play like in this weather, if you play 4 games of singles and you're like, you lose a kg and a half.
Yeah.
But a lot of people tell me, back to back kyun khel rahe ho?
So the advice that I give sometimes is that, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I find the better the hardware, the more that the software can manage. So sometimes we have like mental stresses, and we all do, right? And I just think that if you're physically very fit, your body becomes a little more resilient, right? And to a lot of the mental pressures. You think so?
Yeah. My role model growing up, and all of you know the man. Very few people know sports people my age, but Kapil Dev, in his own way, talks about stress. लोग बोलते हैं IPL खेल के बड़ा stress होता है. मैं उनको बोलता हूँ खेलो मत. Stress ही मत लो. Stress. So he says that if you don't push yourself and push your body, right, and let your body determine your emotional state, which is basically the thing. If you don't get exercise, your emotional state can never be good. I mean, that's short, simple Kapil Dev type of jart answer. I'm sorry, but you have stress issues because you're not letting your body exercise. If you let your body exercise, no mental issues.
And he's a great example, like super calm, super relaxed.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he's stressed with anything in life. Yeah.
So, thank you for this.
So that's it. Thank you so much. If you guys have any questions, maybe before lunch, any questions, or have you had enough gyan for Health Talk for one day? No questions.
There has to be questions. Come on.
Huh? We can ask the questions. We've already agreed to do a big ice bath, one group ice bath.
How many volunteers for the question?
Health span and lifespan. Which one would be your choice?
So you'll get a 25-year younger answer. You get a
Gopal, you go first.
No, Shikhar, you go first.
Huh?
You go first. I wasn't. It wasn't planned, but I'll tell you.
The whole world is now thinking about longevity and how to live longer. And I think it's hard for me to answer it because I'm 41. If you ask me the same question when I'm 81, I may have a different answer. But the instant line nowadays that comes to mind is Rajesh Khanna. वो कौन सा बाबू मोशाई जिंदगी लंबी नहीं बड़ी होनी चाहिए. Okay, so it's better to live a super healthy life, because if you extend somebody's life for another 20 years in misery, have you achieved a lot? It's hard to really say, right? And so I saw that with my own grandparents, kichwa ke in the last few years. And then I think back on it, right? Like, it was quite a tough few years. And so, I don't know, maybe for me personally, just like a super, super healthy life, and it doesn't have to be forever. Maybe just assuming people want me around forever also, which is quite an assumption.
So again, very personal story. Wives are of various types, but my wife always wants to know what I'm doing when I'm not around, right? When she's not around. So she took to another level and she said, I want to know what you're going to do after I die. So I said, how do you know you're going to die? Like, I'm going to die first or you're going to die first? He said, nahi, tumhare family mein koi marta nahi hai. Because my uncle is 95, my great aunt is 99, and she knows all these people who have lived like that. So now you tell me, what are you going to do, right? So so it's, so this whole thing, you have to be 60 plus to start figuring out the new part of life, and is it about healthy life? Is it about longer life, right? But if it's not a healthy life, it shouldn't be a longer life, right? So I think like there's such incredible work. Maybe it's only people like me who are reading this stuff, but I would say 40, 50-year-olds, please read this. But this is just one book of 2, 3 that I have. This is the new science of living a longer and healthier life. Thoroughly researched. And as you know, lifespans are increasing. It's going to keep increasing. Retirement age doesn't have to be 60. Big, or you got to do stuff, right? Because you are going to be healthier if you live well. It's just going to get stretched, right? So you have to spend time on health, not at 60, but it has to start like much, much earlier. So it is about living healthier so that you stretch a good life later. I think.
Also, right now, you should just live in the moment, because you can do a lot more with your health now than even worry about what it's going to be like 30 years from now.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if you know, but there are, I don't know if this is a total adult audience. I can tell you tips about how to live in the moment. And you're guessing it already. But other than that, sport, right? You live in the moment. Deeply obsessed with music, theater, you live in the moment. So I think life is about trying to live more and more in the moment and figuring out what are those things that teaching. I keep telling teachers live in the moment, because you can't be in the past or the future when you've got 30 kids in front of you. You're living in the moment. So the more you spend time living in the moment and enjoying what you do, I think that stretches your healthy and longer life also. Yeah, I think that sort of does. Okay, so should we announce the next speaker?
Yeah, so like I said, that we've got these health talks, and so this is a platform. Hopefully the idea is AIA, right? Aware, inspire, and action. And I hope that all of you fall into this category. Either you walk away from here, your awareness is enhanced, or you've walked away a little inspired, and a few of you have taken up something. Or if you're going to basically action it, do send pictures and inform us. It'll be amazing. So we're going to do this periodically, and then of course I want to try to do this for some customers also. So there's somebody that we know really well who is an ultra Ironman athlete.
This is just the Ironman, and you have the next.
The Ironman entails it's a 2.4 miles, not kilometers, swim, 112 miles bike ride, and then a 26-mile run, all on the same day, right? And so if some people do a half Ironman. I know a lot of people. I know very few people that do a full Ironman. And so this one individual has managed to do. It's not all on the same day, but the half Ironman's all on the same day.
Just go back. Yeah. That's the full ultra challenge, right? This is ultra Ironman.
So he's done the ultra Ironman, which is doing it consecutively each day for, I think it was 5 days in total. Could you go to the next slide?
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce him?
So Gaurav Makkar, I spoke to him yesterday. He said he'll come and talk about ultra Ironman. So how many people will be there? Okay, good, great. So Gaurav is a Shiv Nadar school parent, and he said he'll come and talk about this incredible fitness and what it does to the mind and what it does to lead a good life. So that's Gaurav. And
it's for everyone. It's not meant for people who want to become Iron Men or Iron Ladies. Okay, it's really actually for everyone, because you can walk away just with small little tidbits as well. That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you.